things you own end up owning you.
What's going on, cutie pies? Long time no see. Hope everybody's doing well out there. Sorry I left you hanging there for a while. These do take some time to put together, and I've just been slacking. But I promise I'm coming back and doing these more often. Today's guest is Camille Julia. She's a freelance writer and has a great podcast called Becoming Fully Human. I think she's really, really, really intelligent, and I really enjoyed having a wonderful, deep conversation with her. This podcast is brought to you by me and me only. So if you would like to support me and get yourself some Fuck Oat Milk merch, head over to ihateoatmilk.com and get some. Enjoy the show.
Are you the Red Hot Chili Peppers #1 fan?
Number 2.
Who's #1?
I don't know. Did you go to ACL at all or no?
No.
No?
Almost did, but no.
You're right there.
I know. People like you travel. People travel across the country for it. I'm just too in like grandma mode.
Grandma mode?
Yeah.
Are you a festival person?
I wouldn't consider myself a festival person. I can appreciate a festival.
Yeah.
But like, no, I'm definitely not a festival person. Me, like when I, 5 to 10 years ago, I was the festival.
Listen, I've never been a festival person, and I'm still not a festival person after going to ACL. I like concerts. So I went to ACL, right? And it's like 3 days, all day. I think the earliest show, it's like starts at 12, the first concert or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it's, we went until, I think 11, about 11 is when we left. And like, I just did that one day. I flew in on Saturday and I went for Sunday. And really, I'm just there to see the Peppers. I saw my buddy's band. Shout out to Nick. He played with his band. Yeah. So I saw them. I saw a couple other bands, but there wasn't like a lineup of, I'm like, oh, I want to see everybody. Really, I'm there to see the Peppers, And but by the end of the day, I'm like fucking exhausted. And I don't know how people do it 3 days in a row. It's bananas to me because you're there all fucking day. You're eating. I will say to ACL that they did have a good selection of food. Like there was, of course, lots of like bullshit food, which is, like $20 for whatever, the crappiest sandwich you'll ever have in your life. But there was also like, they had like Venezuelan food. They had like arepas there and stuff like that. And I was like,
I know arepas.
Yeah. So, and there was plenty of stuff to select from, So, yeah, but I don't do festivals. I want to go see a show, watch the show, and then go home and sleep.
I feel you. I want to do that minus the show. I just want to go home and sleep.
So you've never done like a Coachella? Like, I don't know how people do it here. People, I live in LA, right? So it's like people go to Coachella, people go to, I don't know, fucking Burning Man. Like a week out in the desert?
I know how you feel about Coachella, okay? So I've seen the memes.
No, you mean Burning Man. I made a bunch of Burning Man memes.
Oh no, I feel like you also made a Coachella meme.
Oh, probably. But Coachella's is safe.
Along the lines of like, this is the time to look for your girlfriend on the street.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Coachella's been dead to me. When I moved to LA like over a decade ago, it was cool kind of to go, and I never went. And everybody would go, and it was kind of that, I don't know, exotic out there kind of scene, right? Where you're just out there in the desert. And then over the time, it just became so commercial that I don't even want to go there. It just sounds awful to put on the little hats with little feathers on it. And like, hey guys, oh my God, take pictures of me. Not into it.
Yeah, no, I like music. I like live music. But I just generally, like, the time comes and I'm like, I don't have FOMO anymore. Like when I was younger, maybe. Now I'm just like, I'd rather have a good night's sleep and wake up feeling good and like go to the gym and just be wholesome.
That's me. I was worn out by the end of the day. Like I was dead. Yeah. The next day I woke up and I'm like, oh my God, I just want to sleep in my own bed. And then I got to travel back, but it was a good night of sleep. Yeah. So anyway, I've been listening to your podcast.
Cool.
And, it's really nice. I like it because I find you talking about how you feel, how you sense things, how you transition into things versus like okay, I read this study and everybody should be doing this, or I
Yeah.
talked to this scientist and he says that I should be doing it like this. There's not a lot of that. It's more of you kind of sensing the world and feeling how you're feeling
Mm-hmm.
and really paying attention. You know, and of course, you're not perfect. I'm not perfect.
No.
I imagine that there's days when maybe you realize, like, oh, that was kind of bullshit what I was feeling. Or, you know, maybe I was a little off, right? So,
Literally yesterday.
yeah,
Yeah.
what happened there?
I don't even remember my oh my God, it's like so complicated to unpack because I haven't even figured it out yet, but it was something along the lines of like I made a joke. I can be quite intense, like savage in my joking. I'm Scorpio moon. I find dark comedy pretty hilarious. And I made some kind of savage comment, and my boyfriend thought I was serious. And he was like, "What the fuck?" Like, up. And then seeing him take what I said as a joke seriously was like put into question a lot about how I perceive myself and like how people perceive me and like just this concept of like being a good person. What does that even mean?
Oh
Right?
yeah.
Like he thought I was serious and it was like what I said was pretty fucked up. And then I was like, whoa, seeing someone that I care about perceive me in a way that's fucked up, even though I'm like, but to joke in general about things, there's always a degree of truth in joking.
Yeah.
So like yeah, so even that, there's always this like kind of back and forth, but I mean it's humbling. It's I didn't used to always be like this. Like I remember when I first discovered like that mainstream medicine is pretty fucked up and that like the health industry and big ag, all these things, I kind of did a 180 and everything was like evil or good.
Mm-hmm.
And then as you soften and start to see yourself in both sides of things, you're like, well, no one has the answers. Like, Rhonda Patrick doesn't have the answers for sure, for damn sure. No one really knows anything. So, yeah, I think the felt experience is like important, and especially for people to like see themselves in imperfection. But then, other than that, like, who the hell knows anything actually?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna point out. Also, is that it seems like you've been around. It seems like you went that kind of,
Hmm.
yin yang circle, right? Like you said,
Hmm.
that you went maybe the full 180 of the government is trying to kill you, everybody's out there trying to kill you, you're gonna
Totally.
die,
Oh yeah,
you gotta live out in the woods.
veganism's insane. Yeah.
Yeah. Where did it all start for you? What was the where did it start with you thinking that, hey, maybe this mainstream medicine idea, maybe what we're being taught and told is maybe there's at least some degree of like maybe there's some holes in there at least, you know what I mean?
I think it was like tap water. I was managing an organic store in like 2015 in Australia. I lived there for a few years. And people would be coming into the store and like saying, like dropping bombs. It like started, I'm pretty sure, with tap water. And I was like, what? Tap water is not safe?
Wow,
Like,
even
what?
even in Australia, I'm kind of surprised because they're like the the Canada of the southern hemisphere. You know what
So
I
like
mean?
communist countries. And
Yes.
yeah.
I have an Aussie client, by the way, so like I get a lot of new, direct news from what's going on there. It's one person, of course, but I mean,
At the moment.
well, what was that?
It's pretty crazy at the
Pretty,
moment.
yeah, pretty weird at least, right? Even he's like, yeah, it's kind of becoming a what did he say? A nanny
Oh, yeah.
state, which I was like, oh wow, it's a great way of describing it.
No, totally. But yeah, with the tap water stuff, and it was just, I don't know, some people grapple with things like that or really resist, but I have always, like my parents like to point out that I've always resisted the mainstream, even like on the playground as a kid. I'd just be like, that's the rule. Nope, not interested. And so yeah, when I started hearing these things, the tap waters, vaccines, there was no really like needing to research. It just landed, and I was like, of course, why would chlorine be antibacterial to kill the bad things, but we're full of good bacteria, and why wouldn't it kill the good bacteria too? And I was like, okay. And then I think from that, you pull the thread of even just tap water, and you're like, why is the government putting poison in our drinking water?
Mhm.
And then everything kind of starts to unravel.
And how's the health scene in Australia? Is it where were you, by the way? Sydney, Melbourne? Where were you?
I was in Sydney for a couple of years, in Byron for a bit, and ended my stint. I was there in two different periods, but ended it by driving across the country and spending half a year in Margaret River in Western Australia.
Holy fuck! How long is that drive?
I'm really bad with like
Well, I
timeline.
mean, how long did you do? I mean, obviously you didn't do it in one go. I'm
Oh, it
assuming,
was like
right?
a month. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was
Yeah,
like a
so you did like a month. So it's
month.
pretty because it's fucking huge. But you must have driven through parts of nothing, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's huge and like desert, and it was also during COVID stuff. So like they were closing the borders, and
Oh
it was
wow, this is really recent. So this is not 2015. Oh
no.
shit. Oh shit.
Mhm. Yeah, I got kind of got stuck in Australia actually, like better or worse. I wanted to stay long term, but I was navigating visa stuff, and then all the shit started happening, and I got the strong intuition they were going to shut the border, so I did a quick visa run in and out of Australia, and then got stuck there for the whole pandemic.
Oh, so you were there for what, like a year and a half? You were just stuck in Australia, not going anywhere.
I got there at the end of 2019
Uh huh.
and left just last December. Yeah, I moved to Mexico.
Oh Jesus, how did you manage to get out? Is it just because they finally opened the borders at the end, right?
Well, they did. You had to apply for exemptions, but because I'm not Australian, I'm born in Canada, you could actually just bounce whenever you wanted.
Oh, okay. So you
But
were. Uh huh.
stuck being airlines. Like airlines weren't flying to Canada for a while. And I didn't really want to go back to Canada anyways.
Oh Jesus Christ! And so you ended up. Why Mexico?
You could get in without a PCR.
Mm-hmm.
Got a lot of the like freedom vibes there. Had to take a 60-hour flight to get there because
60-hour flight. Oh my God, what was that through?
Dubai to Spain,
Jesus Christ, you flew from
Mexico,
Australia to Dubai? Oh my God. And
overnight in the Dubai airport, into Spain, into Mexico. Yeah, the
that's
time.
fucking insane. The longest flights I've done is 13, 14 hours to Russia from LA, Russia. That's the direct flight. But
Yeah,
I,
it
I
could have been that. It
it's
could
like
have been,
17 to
yeah,
Dubai,
yeah, yeah.
right?
Si- I don't even know. It was
Okay,
like,
60, whatever. I can't even imagine another 3 hours on top of
yeah,
13 because when I get to 8, I want to murder everybody on
wait,
the plane.
sorry, not 16, 60, six
Well, you're
zero.
saying total, but I'm saying
Oh,
like what's the longest direct flight like when you're on the plane? You know what I'm saying?
oh, that I don't remember, but actually the longest direct flight I've ever taken was 20 hours because it was,
What the
I
fuck
know,
is that?
dude, I don't know how it's even legal. It was from Toronto to Singapore, and there wasn't a layover. There was a refuel in Vancouver, but it was
So
we
you didn't get
stayed
off on the
the
plane. Yeah, well, but okay, but still in the air. Like I'm curious, like so what you don't know what's the longest in the air. But I know there's flights that go from LA to Dubai too, by the way. They're around 15 to 17. And I don't know,
yeah.
once I get to 8, like I said, I just want everybody on the plane to die, I
Same.
hate the experience. I'm not into it at all. I mean, I can
Actually,
enjoy it for a few hours and then I'm like I'm over this. I really I don't know how flight attendants do that fucking job.
well, they don't. It's
Well, they're
like,
crazy people, right? They're
no,
crazy people. I don't know if you have anybody in your family that's a flight attendant, but I don't.
they're crazy.
They're crazy
Like,
people.
knowing circadian rhythm and the importance of like light
Uh-huh.
and EMFs, it's just fucked
Oh
up.
my God. So you've never been to Mexico before, though, right? Before that flight, before you went to bounce from
I
Australia,
did, well, technically, yeah, I went to like Cancun for a week
like
when I,
vacationing stuff.
yeah, 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 but no, no like real Mexican experience.
So you had your Mexican experience, right? So what'd you think?
Yeah, it was amazing. Um, it was not, I spent 9 months there. I actually didn't intend to leave so abruptly either, but I kind of thought I'm living in Mexico now. And it was great. I was in Oaxaca and
Hmm.
a lot of strong women there. I like met barely any men. Like a couple of my friends' partners I met, but like really amazing women and yeah, great food. It was like a transformative period for me.
Mm.
Yeah. In terms of like going from writing and doing a lot behind the scenes and probably kind of hiding a little bit behind the written word. It feels much more comfortable there. Like for me with the, there's like a barrier between the world and
Hmm.
what I have to say. And yeah, in Mexico, there was just a gap for me. I needed to dance. I really just felt this like deep calling to dance, and there was nowhere to do ecstatic dance. So I just started it, and it kind of evolved into holding women's circles and hosting women's retreats. And it was just this like new chapter for me of which 9 months, 9 months in the womb, a rebirth. It was all
I see. Yeah, a lot of poetic there.
very
Okay,
poetic.
okay.
Hmm.
Interesting. So, and this is did you meet a lot of expats and stuff, or this is mostly Mexican women that you met?
A lot of expats.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
seems like to be really the spot. A lot of people go. Danny Roddy's there. Like people love Mexico.
yeah. There's a lot of people in Mexico at the moment. I think the freedom thing is pretty big.
It's wild. Yeah, it's freedom. It's like it's like the Russia of South America, I think. You know what I mean? Like Russia still has that, even though not supposed to talk about Russia right now. I know, I realize it, but
We can talk about Russia.
yeah, sure, if you want. I'm just saying, because it's just that kind of freedom, but in a way, it's wild too. So you got to be prepared for your shit. You can't just you're not gonna just people are nice and friendly and invite you into their homes and stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
you gotta
Oh,
be
I know.
it's
I,
wild. You know what I
yeah,
mean? I mean,
I know,
I
like,
feel like the average American would never even imagine that you can get pulled over by a cop and then give them like, a 20 and just drive on. Like in America, you'll get fucking arrested, right? It's a very serious crime. You can probably go to jail and serve time, or I don't know about serve time, but it's very
probably.
serious. Yeah, probably,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah,
probably.
bribing a police officer on the street. So,
Yeah,
but in
and
Mexico and Russia, it's, the
yeah,
common thing to do. It's
it's built into the fabric of like life there. You
mm,
could buy anything, and you also like I know a handful of people that have gotten like robbed at gunpoint in the middle of the day.
mm,
One
mm,
woman got punched in the face. Like,
mm.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
you get.
wild.
Mm-hmm.
You get both worlds. But if you could see yourself living there, or maybe visiting, hanging out there at some point. Again, I'm saying you liked it that much that it wasn't
Yeah,
so
I loved it. Mm-hmm.
good
Yeah, it's
times.
different. Like you get it's like anything. I mean, being in Austin now, yeah, I love being able to bike to Whole Foods and get like a $20 smoothie. Organic smoothie.
That's cheap. No, I'm just kidding.
It was half off. It's like discount Wednesday. Yeah, no, it's different. Like life there is super cheap. Um, it's a different pace. Yeah, you get pros and cons to everything, which kind of goes back to this idea of like, there's the good thing or there's the answer to anything. There kind of isn't an answer. And even being back in the States now, like a lot of people were kind of shook that I am living in a big city again and in the States because I left Australia because of the pandemic and because of everything that was going on and, chose a very like wild, I guess, life in Mexico. And yeah, I have like again new it's always humbling to have the new perspective, to be now back in the city and realize that like there is no answer. Even through the pandemic, like how is it in Cali?
Hmm. How's it in Cali?
Yeah.
Um, tell you the truth, it's back to normal. It's very. I feel like. Well, we can talk about that. Like, I'm curious what your thoughts are over. Okay, so we've had this crazy ass pandemic, right? 2 years, probably 3 years of weirdness, right? Probably 3 years going on, and I still think that at the end of the day, after these 2.5 years, the people that were on the very left are still on the very left, and the people that are on the right are still on the right. And I
Mhm.
think it's like the tiny minority that have kind of adapted and were, or not adapted. Let's say that I just think there's a very tiny minority of people that actually questioned their existence and this whole thing. I
Right.
think it's sadly, in a way, I think it's because I'm not even gonna say what's right or wrong. I just think there's a small amount of people that have even stopped to be like, hmm,
Mhm.
just to do that pause. Has that been your experience too?
Yeah, I think some people have. Like I know even people in my family that made choices about bodily autonomy to give up their rights in the name of like literally nothing
Hmm.
have changed their mind. A lot of people have like felt the immediate consequences of their decisions.
So
But
some people like that personally that literally
yeah,
have changed their mind.
yeah.
That's big. That's what I'm saying. Honestly, I don't know anyone. I don't know anyone.
But like most people don't. This is just
Yeah.
a form of resistance, right? Like how many forms of resistance do we encounter every day when it comes to just like even the smallest triggers, right? when we get triggered or something gets activated in us, most people are quick to be like, it's the other person. Like the other person needs to change, the other person needs to do something differently, and it's about them as opposed to it's about me. The left and the right are mirrors of the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like the carnivore vegan thing. Like there's this whole idea of righteousness, and there's a good way to live and there's a good way to eat, but like the energetics of both sides, be it the left or the right, politically, be it, and like, dude, I majored in politics in university. I've only voted once in my life. I like idea that like answers were found through making the right choice, but there is no right choice. Like there's decisions that have consequences that give us perspectives about our existence and our life and our place and alignment and integrity. And I don't think like this is the actually my biggest question of life itself is like what drives the spark of change in people. Like you and I value health, but we can't really take credit for that. Like there's something in us. There's like the mystery that is like, hey, this is worth pursuing. And then so we act on it. And sure, like we then make choices that, you know, turn into a lifestyle and it's habit. And yeah, like your palate adapts when you stop eating bullshit. But like there's still something under that that drove us to do that we can't take credit for. Mm-hmm. So like that exists also through this whole pandemic. Most people are just not operating from that place. Like I don't actually know how bad it needs to get for people to be like, oh, I'm unhappy and unhealthy and my life blows.
Yeah, well, if anything, the last 2 years have showed is that it probably would have to be really fucking bad, even worse than this, worse than not being able to go into or whatever, worse than being forced to go into a restaurant like it wasn't like you're asking me about Cali, for me to go into a bar to show my fucking picture, to show my card that I have this, that I have that. I mean, that is fucking crazy. That is crazy, guys. It's just bananas to me that it got that far, and it did get that far. Now, look, not all places did that, you know? So I think just like with that left and right thing, like we're talking about, the extremes, it's very easy for the people on the right that are living in places like Austin and Texas and whatever, in Florida, to just, you know, shit on California. Just, oh, everybody has blue hair and everybody's vaxxed. Yeah. I mean, look, there is truth to everything too, right? Even to jokes, 100%. I'm not denying it. But it is funny. You know, by the way, it's just funny. We just had like an earthquake in California recently, and it's in Northern California. We didn't feel shit down here. But everybody that I know from not California texted me and asked me, hey, how's the earthquake? You good? And nobody from California said shit, you know, because nobody cares, because everybody's just used to it and everybody's just in their own thing. Mm-hmm. And then in Florida, when the hurricane was happening, you know, the big hurricane that came through recently.
No, but
everybody that I had talked to in Florida, that I know people in Florida, I was like, hey, how are you doing? You good? Everybody's like, well, oh, the hurricane? Oh, yeah, we're good. Like they didn't even, it didn't even register. It just goes to show you how much people love that fucking opposing drama of the other side. And they want to, what's happening on the other side? That other side. Instead of just focusing on their own zone and just, you know, focusing on their shit. So anyway, I went down a tangent there. But what I was saying, yeah, things that will have to get pretty fucking bad for people to start paying attention. I feel like the sad part is I think that a lot of people are honestly on autopilot daily. Like really are living on autopilot. It's just wake up, work, come back, TV show, sleep, wake up, work.
Totally. And like just mediocre everything. And even when you look at like relationships and marriages and everything has the potential to be like the most incredible transformative thing, or just keeping you so locked into your relationship to work, the job, the work you do, just everything, the way you move your body, the food you eat. It's, I mean, to each their own, but it's interesting to see the possibility that the human experience offers us.
Yeah.
And the potential, I guess, too, just the potential that everyone has. Because, some people are born into this or that, but like ultimately.
It is interesting. It's always been in my mind. I'm just like you. I've been kind of in my own lane, a rebel since I was a kid too. I don't know, for whatever reason. I don't know why. Not to be a rebel, not to be cool, because I don't like those people either. I'm not into like listening to like punk rock music and shit like that because I find that douchey too. You know what I mean? But I'm just doing my own thing. But it is interesting. I've always thought about that since I was a kid. Like, why do people? Because there's so many movies made about this stuff, like Fight Club and I don't know, American Beauty. Just that existence of, wake up, get in box, the box that is the car, drive that box to work, come back, sleep, repeat. That, why do so many people do it? Even though a lot of people do notice that they're like this is terrible existence, but a lot of people do continue on doing it. I've had thoughts of like, I don't know, maybe is it, I don't know, do you believe in past lives, or is it a past life thing? Maybe that's a state of transformation and forming. Maybe some people are supposed to live through that and then kind of maybe in their next existence kind of wake up a little more, and then they wake up a little more and wake up a little more.
I 100% believe that, because what else explains why like some people super young have these huge awakenings, and or just like it's like carrying forth the work from a past life is what it feels to me. But what, like, I've thought about this a lot too in terms of like why people make those choices. I mean, we could even get into, is free will a thing? I don't even know, but I don't like to think about it too much because it's pretty fucked up if it's not. But just the fact that like familiarity in our nervous system, just on a very somatic level, like without getting too spiritual, just really in the body, is safer than the unknown. And that's why we often choose to play out patterns like in relationship and just in general, I guess, patterns from childhood, things that were familiar to us, which for most people, there's a degree of chaos. Like very rarely are people actually raised super wholesomely, empowered, balanced, grounded, eating organic, all this stuff. And in fact, if you like the average person, if they're like, no, I had a great childhood, they just haven't explored it yet. Like,
that's true too, right?
Even if you were told you were loved every single night, it's like, did your parents love themselves? How did they love each other? How did they express themselves? How did they communicate? Like, we don't learn based on what they tell us. We learn on how they operated. And most people aren't passed down, much wisdom in that department. So our nervous system will literally seek what is familiar instead of being like, well, it could be worse. If I like deviate, it could be way worse. So like, let's just choose what we know, which is like that mundane, cookie cutter existence, instead of risking losing the thing that you don't even like.
I mean, maybe that's the way it's supposed to be, right? Maybe because we do need those people. We need the garbage man, right? I don't want to be the garbage man. Do you want to be the garbage man?
I don't want to be the garbage man, but I also think that for every job that is needed, I think someone's passionate about it.
So you think there's dudes out there that are like, fuck yeah, I'm collecting this fucking garbage today.
I do. Yeah. And it could even be the kind of person who's so zen that is like, I can, do this job for my society and my community and get deep fulfillment. But yeah, I think there's someone everywhere. Because, there's people that say like, well, if everyone fulfills their dream, does their dream job and is living in their purpose, no one's going to be like X, like the garbage man. I don't agree. I think there's someone passionate about every job that is needed.
I want it to be true because I'm also a kind of positive person, I mean, well, I don't know. I just don't give a fuck sometimes. So I guess I resort to just whatever. I move on. You know what I mean? So I want that to be true, but I don't know. I really want it to be like that. Yes, there are guys that are waking up and they're passionate about, like you said. I don't know. By the way, it is fucked up that the garbage man is the number one job that everybody thinks of. Like, what if there are actually like a whole set of garbage man dudes that watch these podcasts and they're like, fuck you, every time somebody says like, not again.
Leo, they can start a podcast and talk.
Please, if you're a garbage man, I'm not even kidding, genuinely start a podcast because I'm curious what the life is like seriously.
Isn't the pay really good?
Listen, I hear them every single day in Los Angeles. Every single day. you hear them because there's so much garbage here, so much people. So you hear a garbage truck every single day. It's not like a suburban town where they come through on Wednesday. That's the garbage day truck. Here they're
Yeah, we're once a week here.
every single day. I hear them. I wake up to them every day, to the point of like sometimes I have friends that stay with me and then they're like, "Oh my god, that garbage truck was so loud," and I was like, "What garbage truck?" Because I'm numb to it. Honestly, seriously. So it's just like, yeah, I don't know. I really want that to be true, but then at the same time, again, there's then you get to that kind of Dostoevsky. I don't know. Have you read Dostoevsky kind of stuff?
I know his message,
His ideas. Okay.
I have some things to read.
You should.
Yeah.
Just like one. Just pick. Well,
yeah.
Probably just read Brothers Karamazov. I feel like it's like the most kind of. It's a thick one, but
I've never heard of that one.
Brothers Karamazov. That's. Oh. Some could argue that's his best work. I mean, all of them have some great stuff in it. The Brothers Karamazov is just a very all around good book, because there's a lot of the same ideas from others books that he wrote before, previous to that one. They're also in this book, so that's why it's a good choice, I think. But with his ideas, that being that even if life was a utopia and perfect and everything was so good and everybody was following their passion and everybody is happy, people would still create some sort of conflict for themselves, because that's human nature. Because we want something to kind of poke us in the back and be uncomfortable about it and be like, fuck you, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. So his idea was that, like I said, even if everything is going so well, people would create unwellness in their own being or in their environment.
Well, I agree. And also, I think like we come, past life, all that stuff, I do think we come to the human experience to grow and learn. Like if we were enlightened, I don't think we would be on the planet. So conflict, triggers, all that stuff, they're allowing us to see a part of ourselves that like we've suppressed or are ashamed of or have rejected. And without that, like you need conflict to grow. It's like training in the gym, the most basic concept of like without resistance, you're not going to grow. I think there's definitely like more evolved ways of doing that. But even that, getting to that place requires like fumbling your way through it at the beginning. And also it wouldn't be fun. Like imagine literally you could get everything you wanted all the time in an instant. You'd be like, well, it'd be fun for what, like a day?
Probably. Well, maybe a little bit longer, but maybe a little bit longer. I'm thinking of that Tom Hanks movie when he grows up to be an adult and he just has all the money. What's that movie? Big?
No, I'm not a big Tom Hanks.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, all right. I know why, but I'm just saying, come on. You've seen Forrest Gump.
I've seen Forrest Gump.
Okay,
yep.
Jesus,
I like Forrest Gump.
Come on, Forrest Gump is a classic. Come on. See, like I have some of those clients that they won't. Yeah, if somebody, Mel Gibson, remember his big thing back in the day, which kind of is funny now, right? Looking back at what's happening with Kanye West now. You don't know about Mel Gibson?
Oh yeah.
Oh, he went on some rants about certain ethnic groups and blah 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 and stuff like that.
Quote him.
Quote him? Oh, I was like, what?
I do remember that.
Yeah, but a lot of people just forever stop watching his movies, and they won't even watch any of his movies. Anything new that he creates, anything to do with Mel Gibson is done.
Oh yeah, no, I can separate the artist from their art, but Mel Gibson, I wasn't into him before he was racist.
Oh, Mel Gibson. Yeah, Mel Gibson. Sometimes I confuse him with Patrick Swayze. Anyway, I got it. I was thinking in my mind, am I thinking of the right actor? Yeah, I don't know.
But back to the utopia thing.
Yeah.
What I mean by people living their passion, just because they do that doesn't mean there's no resistance. Like I love my job. I love the things I do for work. I love writing. I love facilitating, and still I'm faced constantly with triggers and things that I have yet to explore within myself. It's not, even the people that look like they're flowing with life and doing all the great things, there's always resistance. It's just, I think there's a degree of self-awareness that comes with those things that makes you kind of welcome them. And you're like, wow, it's like, it's information as opposed to like, well, this person's doing this to me. Like when I get activated now, I'm like, whoa, okay, what belief do I have about myself in this? Like, how am I contributing or creating this dynamic as opposed to like this victim mentality where life sucks and people are shitty?
Sounds to me like also you're getting to a place where you're just going with it, even though it's so cliche to say that, to go with the flow, but kind of going with the flow versus like that's my thing with people like Aubrey Marcus, right? Speaking of Austin, Texas, right? It's that I don't want to become the guy that, okay, today I gotta wake up and I gotta journal about my intense fucking meditation practice that I've been doing every single day. Tomorrow I'm gonna lock myself up in a dark room for a week. Then the third day I gotta do this. I gotta see the psychologist. And I'm gonna talk about all my past my fucking my whatever my childhood with my parents. And then the fourth day I'm gonna see this channeler. He channel. I don't want to be that guy, because
No.
that sounds like way more of a mental illness and way more work than just dealing with life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I totally agree. But I think also the thing, and it's not to call Aubrey out, like a lot that he does and shares, I think is cool, and he's like trying to figure himself out.
Mhm.
But I think it boils down to authenticity and what is authentic for you, and what is authentic for me, and what is authentic for Aubrey, and what is authentic for, whatever the neighbor is very different. And I think that the like spiritual world and the health industry that, we live in just as being human beings is full of bullshit. So you see a lot of people using so much force. And I think what you're speaking to, this like waking up and journaling thing, like two people can have the same habit, right? One person wakes up and journals, the other person wakes up and journals, but one's doing it because it's this like authentic experience that they want to have with their journal. The other one wants to be like, I woke up and journaled for 5 minutes, and then I did my this, and then I did my coffee enema, and then I,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah.
That's the difference, is like it's never actually the thing. Even when you look at bad habits, like you see the grandma who's 120 and her secret to longevity is smoking a cigarette, and then you see the other person who chain smokes because they haven't dealt with, their dad that left when they were 2, and so they have the outlet of that for their pain. Like it's never the thing. And so even things that are innately healthy, like the meditations, and I dated a guy that meditated for hours and hours and hours as an escape
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
from feeling. Nothing's innately good or bad. And I think that thing that probably triggers us a little bit in others, or is like we feel like we want to call them out, is because it's not authentic.
Yes,
And
I'm with you.
authenticity can be smelt like miles away.
Funny, right? Literally.
Hundreds of miles. There's just this like, and I think too in the health industry, especially, again, no shade to Aubrey though, is like when people try and portray themselves as being like healed, and they're like, I'm healed, come do this because I did this and it healed me. And I'm like, well, okay, but if you're gonna, you know, be preaching polyamory and then do a 180 and start talking about your monogamy and then slip back, it's kind of like slip back into it's like like the people that preach like this certainty of like having the answer. I'm like, well, you haven't, give yourself a year or two and see if you slip up again, because
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and like you said, hey, if you're in a polyamorous relationship and it's working for you, that's cool. It's just, yeah, people were preaching about it, and then, wow,
reach
listen,
out to me if you are in one.
Cam, reach out to me. I have a workshop, and listen, and if you're triggered by this, it's just because you get jealous. You're a jealous person, and you need to work on your jealousy, and it probably stems from your childhood when and it's just like, oh, come on, come on. Like you said, if you're in a polyamorous relationship, it works for you. I also feel like if shit's working for you, that's an interesting concept, right? If shit's working for you, you probably don't talk about it all the time.
Dude, I completely
You know what I
agree.
mean? Like, if your diet's working for you, you don't have to go on Instagram and, dude, carnivore diet is the best. It fixed everything. Or vegan diet, whatever. It's just, if it's working, you don't even give a shit about it. If it's really working for you. Because I also don't believe a lot of people out there in the health industry, sadly, I don't believe that a lot of them are genuinely trying to help people. I think a lot of them are just doing it for clout, to get followers, or to sell you their fucking program. And look, there's a need for money, and I understand. And to be cool, we all want to look good and be liked by people. I totally get that. But you know what I mean? It just, I think there's actually very few people that are genuinely like, all right, I'm gonna really think about how I can help people, or just a small advice that I can give to people that will actually work. You know what I mean?
Well, the hard thing is like if you really do that work, like do the work, you realize there's no cookie cutter. You can't actually tell anyone what to do. Everyone has to find things on their own terms, and it's like there's no answer. So how can you sell no answer?
Because you got to pay rent next month. You got to sell the
Yeah.
answer. I got the answer.
Yeah, and it's hard, in the world of affiliates. Like we live in such a different world where marketing used to be a thing you saw on television, and now everyone's an ad. And so kind of boils back to that authenticity piece is like how much can I trust this person who's selling me shit left, right, and center? And I also get it. Like I get that people are given the opportunity for the first time maybe ever to other than the world of celebrities, like it used to be celebrity endorsements for everything, and now the average person can have an affiliate account, get a 10% kickback on things that they're promoting on their social media page. But it's hard to like navigate the waters of that to see what is real. And also in terms of what is real, peeling it back, like sure we see the woman with their fake butts being like the skinny tea is the one, is it what gave me this body?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
the people who are authentic in terms of I actually take this, how much do they know about the recipe of how their body and how it's generated came from what?
That's a funny one because it makes me think of those girls. I love, love, love these posts because they're so funny to me, and I don't think most people get it.
Mm.
The post of like a girl like posting her picture from like 5 years ago where she was like super skinny and no ass, and then it's like a video of her like big ass, and it's like I'm so glad I've worked on myself, and it's all it's every the entire post is about like all her issues and problems that she's worked on, but really it's just that she got a bigger ass and more dudes look at her and she likes that. And is it really all this like deep rooted stuff, or did you just all you had to do is just get an ass, which is great, squat, lunge, get an ass. But I love it when it's my favorite girl mental illness. You know what I mean? It's just so funny.
My current favorite is unpacking the fact that like so we see an ad on TV for a big pharma, the like triflaxequin, and it's like there's like 100 things of side effects and
Oh,
whatever.
yeah.
So most people these days can see that and be like, okay, that's fucked up, not interested. But in the natural industry, we're seeing the same. There's people, with their like mushroom kits, and they're like, this is for my brain. Do you
Yes.
have bad sleep? Have this. And it's the same. It's this like one size fits all, you have this, you take this, you have that, you take that, as opposed to being like curious.
Yeah.
Sleep being our most basic fundamental human function that we need every single night. And if your body's not sleeping, it's not because you're not taking a reishi tincture.
What do you mean?
You know,
Oh, so I gotta do a lion's mane. It's lion's mane, right? That's what
it's
that's.
2 drops of each. It's
The mushroom thing, it's killing me. That one is the big one too right now. It's super popular because just like
and I mean everything has a place, sure, but it's that same concept of like, well, reishi helps me sleep, so I'm gonna start promoting it as a sleep thing. And yeah, I think it just dissociates us from our bodies and kind of just it's that mirror again, right? Of like the vegan carnivore, left and right, pharma and naturopathy, whatever you want to call it, the holistic health world. I think they're kind of mirrors of one another in terms of like, you're broken, take this.
hmm so you've been around. Obviously, you've tried different diets, tried different things. Have you ever had an experience where, yeah, this one thing helps me do this, and then later on you realize like, oh, like I can totally do this thing without this thing, and then you start thinking,
I mean, every supplement ever, pretty much.
exactly, right?
Yeah. And also, it's like the ego that you get. I mean, I'm speaking for myself, looking at my supplement cabinet. I was like, I would look and I prided myself on being like, well, fashion is dumb. Like, why would you spend that much on like a Chanel purse? But then I
Yeah,
look at my
yeah,
supplement and be like,
yeah.
brand names, names. Like the ego just finds and attaches to something. And in the spiritual world and the health world, it's easy to justify that it's healthy because it's the health industry, but it's never the object of our attention. It's our relationship to it. And yeah, supplements. I would just take like I would put 10 powders in my, morning coffee. Everything I baked or make would be laced with this or that. And it was like, it was,
CBD on everything, right?
yeah,
CBD.
just like,
Just doing this. Yep, yep, yep. A little round hand.
yeah.
Oh
So
man.
I guess a lot of things. And some things are good, but it's not, yeah, it's approaching everything from just a completely different place. And
And then people are gonna say, "Well, you guys are just anti-supplements," and it's like, no, we're not anti-supplements either. It's just like, I don't know. I just call it. I just made it up myself. I just say, stop making everything a thing. You know what I mean? Just
really,
you don't have to make everything a thing. It could be a thing. Like there
totally.
could be a supplement that really does make a difference, or whatever. Maybe works, maybe whatever. But you don't have to make a thing out of it.
Hmm.
You can, but it seems like it's so much. It's just everything now is a thing. This is a thing, and this sleep and the ice bath, and like I'm sometimes on my explore page on Instagram, I'm like watching these fucking dudes. This dude is like shredded, shredded. Probably hasn't had a carbohydrate in like since 1999. It's just fucking shredded. He's got fucking the trackable watches that track his heart rate. My heart rate right now is 182. I'm in zone 2 cardio, and it's just he knows everything. He's got the ice barrel next to him. He's got the mushroom teas in the Yeti cup already. He's got an affiliate link for all those things, and it's just like, man, this was like a fucking mental illness, man. Seriously, it really does, because it's just like, how much stuff do you need to be healthy, and what are you promoting? Are you promoting being healthy, or are you promoting this thing, this kind of robotic existence of like you're a car, it's like this, you go this speed, you got to track this, and you have that, and you got these kind of wheels, and you got to maintain it, so you got to do daily maintenance. It's just like, oh my fucking god, it's crazy how, because I've been in this game for a while. It's crazy how it went from maybe, I guess, everybody just being vegan, because it was always like vegetarian and vegan. That's kind of the the set piece to like being healthy for whatever reason. I think we're just inclined to it. Yeah, we're just inclined to it. And it went from that to just like a billion things that you have to do to be healthy.
Yeah, it's interesting too, like if you take these things away from the biohackers, you know, i- if you rely on the thing, like the things to me that promote health, and if you're taking something, it's like, is it a bridge to achieve something? And ideally, you want to take it up to the point where, like, okay, now that's resolved. Like if you need your morning routine, your 10 supplements every day till you die, then is it really helping you? Like, is it, or is it creating a dependence and a belief about, what you need to thrive in the world? I like take away all the gadgets. If people freak out, how resilient are you? Like I understand the place that these things have as, yeah, as like a bridge maybe to recovering from something, or finding balance if you've deviated for a while. But I just, there's something, and it's not about being purist. I'm not against supplements, like I'm not against anything, but yeah, like you said, this dependence, it's like it's actually mental illness, and I've been there. So it's
Yeah,
not,
same here. That's why I make fun of it, right?
there's no judgment. I've been there, but like only you can really know if your relationship to the thing is healthy or not. And like you said, you look at some people and they're like, whoa, that is the furthest thing from health, although you're ticking all the boxes.
It's like, maybe you think maybe I make fun of these things a lot, because I think more often than not, people should first take away things before placing things into this whatever issue they're having. And what I mean by that is like,
I
yeah, like
agree.
if you're working your job that you fucking absolutely hate, you know, maybe I know it's not easy to quit your job. I totally get it. I mean, yeah, I'm not, I get it. It's hard to quit your job. It's hard to do this. You can't afford, but
Mhm.
like, maybe address that issue, or whatever, change your job, or blah blah blah, and maybe if you're in a relationship that you don't want to be in, but you're in it because you feel bad for the other person, you don't want to break up with them, and then you're, oh my god, baby, I miss you, but then I don't miss you, back and forth. Maybe like address that, address
Mhm.
all, and then like, you know Oh, I bought a red light therapy device, but I don't really go outside. Go outside. Yeah, the red
So
light therapy is great. I got one, but that's what I'm saying. Take away I feel like we're getting in the way.
I totally
Yeah.
agree. Like, so that there's this like his name's Robbie. He's like he's a certified Jedi, and he does a modality basically that helps fix corrections and balances shit and whatever. He's kind of like this, yeah, a guru and a
Mhm.
mentor of mine. And when I was in my past relationship that was unhealthy in many ways, he said to me I like wanted to do a session with him to explore like why I was getting so triggered by this guy and how it could be more, calm. And he said to me, I will never balance you to a bad situation. Don't get good at being in the wrong situation. Address why you're in the wrong situation if you need support. But don't, so like you said, don't try and biohack your way out of the fact that you're in a shitty job, a shitty relationship, or hate. It's like go for the biggest, like don't go for the low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
Go
Well,
outside
in
with
their mind, you see though, in their mind, that's the high hanging fruit. It's to buy the $500 red light therapy device, to
Mhm.
get the melatonin sleeping pills, and et
Yeah.
cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right? They don't realize that the low hanging fruit is to just get all the bullshit out of your life. Well, as much as you can. I get it. And just like we talked about earlier, you're not going to get everything out of your life always. You're not going to be pristine, tabula rasa. Like a clean slate.
Yeah, but it is addressing the bigger umbrella things of like if you change your job, you can stop doing all these biohacks because you're actually gonna, you're getting good at being in the wrong situation. And like kind of taking the steps back, the partnerships, the friendships, the job, these big environments that we place ourselves in. Well, it's like if you're in a moldy house and you like do all the biohacks,
Mm-hmm.
to clear mold every night, but it's like, or you just move.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good analogy right there. Yeah,
But
like
it's not, I mean, it's also not that simple. The whole relationship
yeah,
thing, like the jobs, it plays into how, our self worth and again, the nervous system and the patterns from childhood that we like, there's so much to unpack. But
100%. It's not
it's
that simple, right?
no,
Yeah.
but it's better to spend your time unpacking that than like
Yes,
doing red light every
I
night.
agree. Yeah. Do you think I could feel? I don't
Although
know. I do.
like scene right there.
Yeah, like I said, I got one. I'm looking at it. I got one too. But yeah, I feel like I feel that a lot of people kind of lie to themselves. I feel that most people know the shit that they need to address, and it's sort of like that whatever bill that you haven't paid and you keep putting it off because you don't want to. It's sort of like that kind of thing happening with people. I feel that a lot of people are lying to themselves. I don't know why. It's another one of those curious human existence questions, right? It's like why? I don't know, but they do. We all do it. I've done it. You know what I'm saying? We all do it.
I have too. I think we all are doing it to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
And definitely I've done it more intensely in the past. But the other thing is like a lot of the conversations like these, right, that people have in terms of like what to do about it is just don't do it.
Yes.
It's like you're experts even. I remember I was listening, it was like about relationships or couples, and it was like a man and wife who are both like, sexologists, relationship life coaches. And someone had asked, after children or something, how do you keep intimacy? And he's like, you just have to prioritize it.
Yeah, that's a bunch of bullshit.
The thing is, like, there isn't that much good advice either. And I think part of that is because, and why I share the way I do on my podcast and my process and stuff is like, there is no one way. It's like, going in and introspection and sitting with things and exploring and taking a step forward and then two steps back. There's no cookie cutter.
Yeah, I don't know.
And
You
it's
can you
definitely
can
not.
tell me, like, I'm curious how women think about it. Right now, what's happening with men? It's uh because we went through this two years of weirdness, and we've had maybe probably like a good 20 years of PC culture in America, right? I haven't been here for that long, but I noticing it.
Yeah.
Um, and I feel like now the rebellious thing to do is to get that like farm, right? To start your own farm with fruits and goats and cows, and to get married
Mm-hmm.
and to have 14 children,
Mm-hmm.
um, and to work out every day, be fucking jacked. You have to be jacked, whatever it takes. And, you know, all that's the rebellious thing to do, right? But
Right.
I'm also noticing that those guys are becoming just as mentally ill as the other guys that are living in cities and that are single and are, because they're becoming so obsessed with this thing. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just like, oh my God, just relax. Because what's going to happen is you're going to get there, you're going to get married, you're going to have your 4 kids, and then 5 years are going to go by, and then you're not going to like your wife, and you're going to get a little bit fatter, and then you're going to get divorced, and you're going to think, what the fuck? But I found the answer. I thought I found it. I found the thing.
It's the same as, the supplements or the habits or the anything is like there is no it's your relationship to the thing. And so people have these ideas that if they do this, they'll be happy, but like why is so important, even with diet. Anything, the meditation, the exercise, the two people having the exact same meal, but one person's doesn't understand why they're doing what they do. And the health industry or any pursuit, I think so often is just done from such low self-worth and this belief that if you achieve this thing, even if it's a six-pack, like, I mean, I think I've told this story before, maybe not in this, like, maybe not in audio, but when I was 21, Nike reached out to do a campaign with me. I was ripped. I had a six-pack abs. I was overtraining. It was insane.
Mm-hmm.
Nike reached out to do a campaign, and I actually bailed on it at the last second because I didn't feel good enough.
Oh no.
So people, like, I literally, like, that was the self-worth that I had. And so what is it that you want to achieve? Would you rather have more body fat and have inner peace? Or are you just seeking the outcome, but it doesn't matter how you get there? And so, yeah, you can have the farm and the goats and the wife and the kids, and it can look picture perfect. But if you pursued that thinking that it would make you happy,
Yeah. I think
surprise!
I think boy, oh boy, you're wrong.
Yeah, you there. I mean, look at all the millionaires of the world that are in therapy, the celebrities that commit suicide, like, and apparently, there's this like there's a term for it in psychology where like the worst day of an Olympian's life is when they get the gold medal.
Yeah.
They've worked, and the working for something is like, oh, the hustle, and oh, we're finally, we closed on the land, and oh, now the next project and the next project, but then eventually you realize, like, well, there isn't, like, you don't achieve something and then all of a sudden the happiness comes.
Yeah. Look at our boy Elon Musk. Can't even keep around a lady. All that money, all them kids. But maybe, but I don't know. Hey, maybe he's doing it the right way though, huh?
Did him and his thing break up?
his thing.
I don't know. I have no.
Hey, what did they name the second kid? I remember seeing the first kid's name, which was
They
like
had a second kid?
Yeah, they had another one. Yeah. Unless
he bought Twitter.
Yeah. You didn't see the name of the kid? It was like numbers. It was like numbers and letters. It was like very.
Of course it is.
Very yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to look it up. I'm curious. Kid's name, right? Yeah, even him. And who was she was like a artist, right? She had some songs.
Yeah, I think she.
Yeah, it's like an X and it's like an A that is like together with an E, and then it's like A-12.
Does it look like a frat house?
Yeah. It looks like a frat house name. Exactly. Oh, Grimes. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
But look, I mean, hey, you got to give it to the guy, though. Maybe he's doing it the right way. Maybe he's just going around banging all these baby mamas, making all these kids. And then he's just like, every time you see him on Twitter, he's become super, right? The red pilled kind of guy now, right? He's like posting all those savage tweets. I don't know if you've seen them, but he'll post some of those, like
some of his savage tweets,
like Bill Gates being pregnant, that kind of emoji. Did you see that one?
I did.
Yeah. I mean, look, I can't hate on that. It's funny, and
it's funny.
To me, it seems like he's being authentic to himself. It doesn't seem like he's trying to be anything.
Same. but I just don't know. Like,
Yeah, 100%. I would never judge a person until
right,
I meet him. 100%. Well,
totally.
I mean, I judge him a little bit, but I
Yeah.
can't ever truly know.
Because you see some people look like they have their shit together. And like I've worked in the health industry for so many years, and some of the healthiest looking people who
Hmm.
have very curated lives are, eating disorders, anxiety, chronic anxiety, taking pills.
Big time. You know,
So,
I had a. Do you know who Denise Minger is?
mm-mm.
You remember that China study thing? Remember that book?
Yeah.
Everybody read about it. So she was a girl that put together a giant article, I guess, piece about the China study, kind of debunking it, and she kind of went viral for it. This is like early health influencer days. This is when Mark Sisson, before Mark Sisson was a big name, and then she partnered up.
Pre-Marxism? This is
This
pre-Marxism.
is like pre-Mark Sisson,
Damn.
as Mark Sisson still had the website that was like, what is it, Mark's Daily Apple or whatever, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So she kind of went viral on websites like that one, and then she eventually partnered up with him, and she had like a book deal, and eventually she gave it up. I had her on my podcast. It was a great conversation about the sort of thing that you just talked about, and she was saying she remembers being backstage, going out and presenting about, why the ketogenic diet is the way that our ancestors ate and why we should be eating, and then going backstage and chatting with all these people that are like, yeah, man, like I'm having problems, like my testosterone is low, like I'm cold all the like literally people at the fucking conference presenting about the stuff that they're supposed to be selling you and telling you is the answer, and then going backstage and just talking about all these problems that they're having.
Yep. Well, here's a question for you. What is health?
Yeah, I don't know, right? I don't know. I don't even know how to define it.
Well, I've thought about it a lot, and
Uh-huh.
what I've boiled it down to is inner peace.
Mm.
And that doesn't negate the physical at all because you cannot be 3,000 pounds and have inner peace. Sorry, body positivity movement. You can be worthy as a human being. And in fact, you are innately like on the spectrum of having any addiction, any health issue, no matter what you look like, you're worthy. But there's this problem we have at the moment in this, health industry that people like it's not both and like you can't be worthy and need to change some shit, or you're worthy and you don't have it fully figured out. So people have to portray this like when you look at the body positivity movement, we're glorifying illness,
Big time.
and that's not helping anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So how can we not hold space for the fact that someone is lovable and worthy as a human being and needs to lose weight for their health? Like we've just kind of lumped everything into like accept everything, everyone's perfect. We see it with mental illness too. There's a lot of glorification I mean, we've been joking about mental illness,
But yes, but
but
on a serious note, yeah.
but on a serious note, um, it happens with mental illness too. There's this like, well, living with anxiety. It's like, well, why are we living with anxiety? Like, why are we the sickest population to ever walk the earth? Why is everyone anxious and depressed? Instead of glorifying it and being like, you're so brave. It's like, well, you're worthy and you're great and you're amazing, but also like don't use that to just be complacent about your life and not do the work that you have to do to experience vibrant health, which for me is inner peace. And like, so that's the physical, but also so tied in and can't be separated from the mental, the mental, the emotional, like everything's kind of right. What it's the chicken and the egg
Yeah, yeah.
thing with
I like where you're going with this because yeah, that's it goes together with all these things that we've been talking about. I don't want to be that guy that's constantly fucking doing this and that and doing all these protocols to make myself to bring myself inner peace, right? I want to feel inner peace and and yeah, and
like because it's fun,
because
like
it's yeah.
because you like it, but not because you're seeking this destination. Like the inner peace, yeah, I mean, it requires, I think, a deep unraveling of a lot of our beliefs. And like you said, more than doing things, it's actually about undoing
Yeah.
and unwinding and unraveling than it is about like doing all the habits and ticking all the boxes. Because you see that I mean, you can see it in someone. They're doing all the things. They're eating perfectly. They're getting in their morning this and their that, and their routine is literally perfect. And yet you're like, whoa, when I'm around you, I feel,
I've
you know?
seen that happen with people like Tim Ferriss over the years. You know, I'm a early Tim Ferriss fan
Same.
right? Yeah, so he's been around
Same.
forever, right? And I
18.
had all his
I
books.
was 18. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what'd you say there? I missed the first
I
part.
discovered him when I was 18. I
Yeah.
read The 4 Hour Body and was like, oh my God, carbs exist.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Sorry about if you heard the siren. I don't know. That threw me off. Yeah, so I have all these books and shit. You know, the earlier ones. And yeah, you're watching this guy do all these protocols and all this and that and this and that and the perfect diet and the supplements and the ART work and then eventually, right, he kind of ends up having some sort of mental health illness stuff, like because he gets super into DMT and ecstasy and all that kind of stuff, so he becomes one of those Burning Man kind of people, and which is cool. I'm fine with it. Yeah, it's just, you know, it just goes to show you that, yeah, you never know. It's all these protocols, all this stuff. Like, maybe you didn't even need any of that shit, man. Maybe you should have just addressed this thing that you addressed through using, you know, exogenous substances earlier on, and you didn't need to do all these crazy fucking diets and all these extreme experiments that people do on themselves
I mean, probably they do need to do it, right? Because they're doing it.
to figure it out. You mean to get to that point?
Yeah. But it's, I guess,
I wish, like, how can we? Because I feel like, sure, a certain degree of that is good, but there's so many people that do insane shit, right? How about all those like YouTube videos of vegans that were vegan for 10, 15 years, and then they're like, yeah, and then when I started losing teeth, that's when I was thinking, hey, maybe there's like a problem here, or vice versa, right? The carnivore people that, you know, whatever, can get warm and have a fucked up thyroid, that they realize, oh, maybe I should eat some carbohydrates, right? It's like, is there a way to like speed that process up a little bit? Because people will go to some extreme fucking ends, man. Like, really extreme.
I think, I mean, I think the first layer is curiosity. If you can approach your life and your choices and your beliefs from a place of curiosity, that's the portal that opens the whole world up. But what drives curiosity kind of goes back to what we were saying earlier about like you and I value health, and there's this spark of life in us that drives us towards, you know, taking care of our bodies and exploring our relationship to life in, you know, a healthy way, whatever that even means. But I don't know what the spark is. That is like life's biggest mystery, because some people like listening to the podcast and they like introspection and they like the curiosity that comes from like, maybe I don't have the answer, is what opens up that possibility. But what drives the spark of curiosity?
Yeah.
No idea.
Yeah. Some people, I just want people to do whatever they want to do, to just be at a place where, you know, fuck it. Like, you're gonna die early, you're gonna die late. Like, who cares? Like, just do the thing that you feel like you should be doing here. I think that's really important, and I feel like a lot of people just get trapped in these little boxes, right? I went to a health conference recently in Phoenix, Scottsdale, Arizona, technically, and it's like what you said earlier. It was just a group of people like glorifying all these things that are wrong with them and just talking about it on stage. It was literally like one lady, well, okay, when I was 14, my uncle touched me, and then I got into a car accident, and I have a scar from here to here, and then I had to get over that, and it's just like this like endless stream of stuff that she had to go through, because I think she's so attached to like these things, these bad things that happened to her, and it's just like, I just kind of want her. I just want to give her a hug. It's like
Mm-hmm.
what's happening with Jordan Peterson right now. I want to give him a hug and give him a joint and have his wife give him a blowjob that he really enjoys. That's like not forced, like just out of love, and just be like, dude, it's gonna be all right. You don't need to go on another world tour. You don't need it. I'm telling you. I've seen you live. I've seen him live.
Same.
Yes, it's great.
Great.
It's unbelievable how in depth he can get into his head. I understand. It's unbelievable how good he is at um, what's that word for, like enunciating his words and having like a very clear stream of consciousness and be able to give it to us. And it's unbelievable because not a lot of people can do that. It's very difficult. I can't do that. I'm retarded compared to him, honestly. But it's just, I just want to give him a hug. I just don't think he needs another world tour and to keep taking the antidepressants and to be on benzos because he's free. I just want to give him a hug, smoke a joint.
Is he still medicated even after that whole stint?
Yeah. He was on Rogan's podcast and Rogan asked him, "Are you still on benzos?" He's like, "No." He's like, "Sorry, you're not taking any medication right now." And then he said, "I don't want to talk about that right now." So, which means yes.
Probably your impersonation ability.
Well, I don't want to talk about the things that I'm taking,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it kind of boils back down to inner peace, right? Like everyone's on their journey, and what people see as health through the lens of their upbringing and society and beliefs, like it's a minefield. And there's very few people out there that really, even like when it comes to content, like taking things in at the moment, almost nobody resonates. It's like there's a lot of just parroting, even in the world of the podcast. Like I see just people going on the rounds of all the big podcasts and
yeah, big time.
is said into everyone's mic, and it's very just like it kind of exhausts me, which is why
it's unauthentic, as you said. 100%. I hate that too. As soon as I see somebody's name on 4 different podcasts, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. I don't want to do it. It's just like, this is a forced thing, and they're going to just get the same thing out of him, and it's just, which is, I guess, why people gravitate towards podcasts like Rogan's, right, where he just chats with people, and
right,
he's just able to.
Which is where Elon, I was like, he's needs help.
Oh, you can tell. Well, he's a weird fuck. 100%. 100%. I'm with you. I'm not saying he's not weird, by the way. I'm just saying that he's weird as fuck, but maybe he's enjoying himself. It seems to me like he is, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe life is a struggle. Maybe that's the way he gets it out or something. He just goes on, I don't know, does weird things. Maybe at home he's just like, fuck. I don't know. But you know what I mean? But maybe yeah.
There is something to his failed relationship that's interesting. I know nothing about it. Like, I learned this through this conversation we've had. But intimate relationships being like an incredible mirror of someone's capacity to face themselves. I haven't watched it yet, but Jordan Peterson has this 3-part series on marriage. Not to say that by any means he's like, fully.
God. Yeah.
Not God. But there is something about romantic relationships, successful ones, that are interesting, because how many do you know that you actually look up to?
Oh yeah, not very many. I don't know. It's
do you know any
marriages that I look up to? 0.
Yeah.
I know people that have been together for a long time, and not even to say the cliche thing of like they hate each other now, know. I know people that have been together, they seem like they deeply care about one another, because what else are you gonna fucking do after you've spent 30, 40 years together? But like some of those relationships, I'm like, I wouldn't want to be the guy in that relationship or the girl, or me personally. But that's my personality.
Yeah, but that's you and every other person. Like, I can think maybe of one relationship that I know of that I'm like, they're the real deal. And like, how many people like love being like the fabric of our human existence, the thing that we all seek, whether we want to call it, whether we actually seek marriage or just connection or whatever you want to call it, like love being this thing that all humans need to survive, even in terms of like the whole, discussion of health. Like, we know that human connection and bonding is so vital. And yet almost nobody has that shit figured out, because when you commit to someone and you get close to someone, you're looking at yourself. Like, you have to face all your shit. You have to, all your stories, all your beliefs, all this, like the road home, right, to inner peace is seeing yourself. Unless you're willing to face yourself and see yourself. So maybe that is the hot tip, is get in a relationship with someone and then face yourself, right? Like, face what comes up instead of being like, nah, she's crazy or he's crazy or he did this to me and I'm out. It's like, yeah, there's something there when it comes to relationships. So I'd be curious. Like, I'd love to sit down with Elon and be like, so what happened?
But he's been married how many times now? 3, 4 times?
Right, he's got a lot of kids with different people,
4 or
doesn't
5? Maybe, I don't know if he was married to his last lady, but
he? Hmm.
yeah,
And it's not
because
to say that relationships have to last forever. Like, there's also a point of self-abandonment where stepping away is definitely what?
I don't know. You want to know what I really think?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's not a hot, it's nothing, genius, but I just think it never ends. I think that
What
game, just the game, just that thing of relationships of, I should do this as a guy or I shouldn't do this, and then what the girl should do or shouldn't do, this, because it's a constant. There are days for sure, right, when you wake up when you're with your significant other and it's just like inner peace, like you said.
mm-hmm.
But those are kind of those are the rare days, I think. The other
But it's
days, that's where you're playing that little bit of a game. Okay, well, I shouldn't do this because that annoys her, and it's like, and then she shouldn't do this because I don't like him, and you know what I'm saying?
no, that's the game. The
Mhm.
the the enlightened like version of relationship where you're getting to know yourself is like, hey, when I do this, you respond this way. Like how and look, for some this isn't for everyone. I'm not saying like the whole conscious relationship thing can be nauseating for some people.
Yeah,
Like that. And in fact, when I hear men coach this stuff, I'll
yeah.
tell you what, it does not turn me on.
See what I'm saying? So, but right there, just I want you to finish your thought. But before that, right there, that's what I'm talking about. You see this weird fucking game of like, I want him to be emotional, but I don't want him to be too emotional because then he's a little bitch. But then at the same time, I want him to be emotional, but then I don't want him to be emotional. But again, do you see what I'm
Well,
saying?
yeah, I do, but it also boils down to authenticity and a man staying in his masculine and a woman staying in her feminine. So like the whole thing that turns you like the turn off stuff for me really as a woman, it has to do with how much a man can stay in his masculine. And that doesn't have to do anything with emotions. Like men feel emotions and can express emotions, but like there's like the energetics of the masculine and feminine that are just I mean it's a whole freaking world.
Yeah, you can't pin it down. I get you. You can't.
No,
You can't
you
put a pin
can't
on
pin
it.
it down. But it's that whole thing even about the whole like I'm not going to do this because of this. Like that to me is a game.
Hmm.
But can like I mean I could take this in so many different ways, but essentially like are you on the same team in a relationship and
Hmm.
can you learn to communicate and share your inner dialogue, which is something almost nobody does. You know like there's you can be you and a chick and you're having a conversation, but you have your inner dialogue about what's going on in the conversation. She has hers, and typically that is never discussed. So, like, if you do have an argument, say, right, with a partner, you have an argument, and then after you can be like, so how did that go for you? Like, how did you feel through that argument? You know, like, have you ever done that with someone where you've like unpacked the argument after the fact?
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you again that it's a game that never ends. That's all I'm gonna say.
Well, then maybe
Which,
this
by
is
the way, I'm not saying I don't want to talk about this. I'm just
yeah,
saying,
yeah.
yeah, and also I'm not God either, so I don't know. But that's my hot take. I think that whatever thoughts you're having at 21 about relationships, whatever thoughts you're having at 31, at 41, I think when you're 81, I think you'll still be having some of those same thoughts. That's what I think.
I agree.
And again, to me though, I take that as a sign of actually that kind of brings more inner peace towards me because I take it as a sign of like, well, go back to that thing of just go with the flow, man. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Just let go, let
Yeah.
go, and it's so fucking hard to do. And again, and I have many failed relationships, and and that you look back and you're like, oh fuck, shouldn't have done that, should have done this instead, for sure. But
Mhm.
still, it brings me a little bit. It brings me, put it this way, it brings me more inner peace to think that I can just, okay, fuck it, I'm just gonna let go. Not fuck it as in like fuck you, as in let go, go with the flow, do my best, be honest with
Mhm.
myself and you, instead of thinking, okay, if I get the girl that she has a good family and we get married and we move to the woods and we have 4 kids, if it's at least 3 kids, then we should be good. She won't leave me after the 4th one. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Because that brings me more inner peace than thinking of I'm gonna get the it thing, and then that's where I'm gonna be good.
I
Because just
totally
like you said, I'll see people that are in their look. I'll tell you a client. I won't say his name, so you won't know who it is. But I have a client. You know,
What's
he's
the first letter of the first name?
he's up there, right? He's up there in his age, way up there. Okay, way up there. Let's say getting close to American average, you know, lifespan average, right? So he's up there. He's
Was that like 50 these days? Got it.
I don't know. With the myocarditis, well, I shouldn't have said that, but I mean, fuck it. You know, and he's been married since, you know, college days. And their dog passed away recently. Kind of recently. Well, yeah, whatever. Kind of recently. And they want to get a new puppy now that they're over it, you know, because it was, you know, it was like a baby, right, that you've had for a number of years. And they're in the market for some dogs, and they have to decide which dog. He wants kind of a bigger dog. The wife wants a smaller dog. If the dog is too big, it's not good because, you know, they have to, whatever, it's too much work, and it's, you know, and it's this and that. And if it's too small, it's not fun because he doesn't want a small dog because it's like, you know, even though they're cute, like what the fuck you do with them? You can't take them on a hike. You can't like go out with, you know. And then they have to have their son help them out to draw a contract, literally a contract, to decide to kind of settle on, okay, these are the qualifications we're looking for. This is the type of dog we want. At his age, you know what I mean? They had to do a contract.
Mm-hmm.
You would think, right? We've been together for fucking ever. I know how you react. I know how you act. I know, you know, I've seen your asshole. You know what I mean? Like, I've seen everything.
I can sketch it.
I know every little hair on it. You know what I mean? And I still need to draw a contract. Okay? And so they draw a contract, and then he's like, yeah, man, he just tells me, he's like, I can't wait to have a dog, you know. I just want somebody in the house to love me unconditionally. Mm. And it's, in a way, it's sad, but on the other hand, honestly, I know they still love each other. I know all that good stuff, but that's just, I think that's what I mean by that game never ends. I think it just never fucking ends. And I take it as a sign of just letting go and going with life and not getting too attached to any of it.
That I agree with. But also, like, in terms of the never-ending thing, part of what brings me the inner peace is not seeing anything as innately good or bad. Like, even on the debate of, you know, the monogamy versus polyamory and, like, all the things, it's like, neither are good or bad. They're both just experiences that enable us to see ourselves more. And same with relationships ending or committing to marriage, and or like you see a marriage and they just fucking hate one another and it's torturous, but still they're like, there's always going to be that resistance in life. So they've chosen that path of seeing themselves through another in that way. Others choose a much healthier, happier single life. Like there's people, you know, who are like, fuck relationships, you know, I'm gonna have, but you can't actually, despite not wanting to be maybe in a romantic relationship, everything's a mirror. Your relationship to food is a mirror. Like that's probably the biggest one actually, because you can't escape it. People run from relationships all the time. They run from friendships. They end friendships. They say she's a bitch, you know, I'm done with that, you know, whatever, or he cheated. It's like, no, even in the dynamic of cheating, like cheating as this like experience that is co-created because someone's wants and needs weren't fulfilled, which is like both people create that dynamic. But really, if you start looking at life more like, okay, who am I? What are my values? What are my wants and needs? And then navigating from that place with realizing that sugar is not bad. You know, dare I say, oat milk is a mirror.
Oh no!
Like the stories we have about literally everything, because it's one thing to, and I mean, I know you have a quite lighthearted relationship to it, which says a lot, but you know, people will be so against something. Back to the polyamory, you know, I believe in monogamy for my path. It's what I want to experience. It's how I want to learn about myself. I have nothing against polyamory. I have nothing against open any things. People can decide, but like there's this even veganism carnivore that's like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
the wrong thing and this is the thing. It's like there is no thing.
It's a bit of honestly, I'll tell you, it's a bit of an American, and you're Canadian, but let's be honest, Canada is basically America. Let's stop it. You guys are just a little bit nicer. I don't know. Is there a cultural difference that you can really tell?
We're people pleasers. We like, yeah,
But you know what I'm saying? Like a real cultural difference. I don't tell, can't
me
tell much
either.
of a difference. Um, I was saying that it's a bit of an American thing to be so polarizing. I don't know why. Other countries, it doesn't seem to be. Americans just love to be polarized. I mean, well, look,
Mhm.
okay, people in general love to like you said, either black or white in
Yeah.
general all across the world. But something about America that people really are polarized about things. They just fucking either, like you said, either it's this or it's that, and everything in between is just doesn't exist.
Hmm.
I don't know if it has to do with that everything is so based out of making money and creating money, because America to me is like it's a land of making money. That's what the land is about. It's come here to do shit. You don't
Hmm.
come here to you don't come here to experience beautiful women, even though they're here. It's like there's many other places you can go. You don't come here to, I don't know, to experience the fucking mm, I don't know. Well, there's amazing music comes out of America, right? But I'm just saying it's a kind of a land of two. Yeah, you want to be a musician, come here. You can be a musician here. You want to be a painter, you can do it. I mean,
Hmm.
are you going to be? There's no guarantee, but this is the place to do it. It's the place to like get shit done.
Hmm.
And maybe that's why people are so like, like just they fucking gravitate towards one end or the other. It's just got to be one or the other.
Well, I think kind of like in the realm of triggers as well, right? One or the other being like getting triggered by the other, I guess. Like if you believe so fundamentally it has to be this and that it can't be that. On the subject of inner peace, like inner peace to me is achieved when you can acknowledge your wholeness. And part of that is that you are everything. And like, so let's say you get cut off in traffic and you say that person's an asshole and they're wrong or bad because they're an asshole is to negate the inner asshole in you, right? That's the concept of mirror work and being triggered and being like, actually, can I turn this around? And is this about me? And what parts of yourself haven't you learned to accept and integrate? And I think that is a very first world problem because we have our basic needs are met. So we then evolve into this place. There's that quote where it's like you're making money or you're spending money to buy things you don't need to impress people you don't like.
Mm-hmm.
That like world of acting and needing to be perceived in a certain way, we end up hiding parts of ourselves, like the authentic parts that don't know or are ashamed or have gone through something that's embarrassing or hard, and so we like hide and compartmentalize parts of ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And those parts are the things that we project onto the other side, like the left versus the right. It's like, well, they're this and I'm this. It's like, but we're all everything.
Yeah, and it's easier to always just blend in with the thing that you just, like you brought up oat milk, you're teasing me about it, but I get what you're saying. Like, yes, do I have a thing that where I say fuck oat milk on everything? Yeah, I do. Um, People will DM me all the time saying like, hey, but I really like oat milk and I drink it sometimes, and I also drink raw milk and I like both. And then I go, cool. Like, what do you want me to do? Fucking kill you? You want me to like drive it? Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not talking about the actual thing of oat milk. I'm talking about that thing that people do.
Totally.
See, and I know that certain amount of people will get it and certain amount of people won't get it. And so, I don't bother explaining it because I can't really even explain it. I'm just
Mm.
talking to you, the people that get what I mean. I'm talking about that kind of unexplainable thing of being an oat milk drinker, but not literally being an oat milk drinker.
Well, this is the thing about the trigger, right? And it's like you don't have to do the thing. So, for example, with oat milk or marriage, you can not do the thing and not be triggered AF by it. Right? And it's one thing to joke about it and talk about things and whatever and get the gold chain with the fuck oat milk.
That
But
was a gift.
but there's such a difference in the energy, right? Of like the lightheartedness
Yeah.
of joking around about things versus like the genuine trigger of like, this is wrong and I hate this thing. Like
Yes.
wherever there is hate or extreme disdain to the point of like nervous system activation
Hmm.
is where you have to lean in the name of like inner peace and health, because typically it's not about the thing, it's about something that it means to you that either you've dissociated from or like, I mean, I can give you a very concrete example. This is the first time ever in my life that I had the realization in real time, and I was like, whoa, this is pretty heavy, because I was going through a breakup and I felt abandoned by him. I felt like really the thought that came into my head is he doesn't want me. And then instantly, because I've been doing this, like, it's Byron Katie's work. She calls it the turnaround, where you take your judgment for another thing and you literally reverse it back to yourself. And so I'd been doing it long enough that it came into my mind. I was like literally welled up in tears. He doesn't want me. He's sitting next in the car. We're breaking up. And then I realized I don't want me. I should have ended this relationship a fucking year ago.
Mm.
I've abandoned myself so many times throughout the relationship in the name of keeping him or keeping our relationship
In the name of
alive.
the relationship. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and so the belief I had about him as a victim of him not wanting me, and of course I have no power in that situation because it's on him to choose me, and it's the same with anything that we believe we have very strong triggered emotional beliefs about. I sat for 1 second and was like, no, I don't want me. And then the power is back in your hands. Like, what belief do you have about the thing? And it doesn't mean you drink the oat milk,
Yeah.
but or it doesn't mean, it doesn't mean you have to get married, but it does mean you have to explore your relationship to your triggers that come from this place of like, the polarity of, vegan, carnivore, this like, can you be carnivore, but hold space for someone who decides to malnourish themselves with veganism?
Yeah.
Because it's true, there is a reality to the malnourishment, and there is a reality to a lot of the things that I decide not to do, but I don't give a fuck
Yeah.
that I
It's
don't do that.
hard to explain this concept.
Yeah.
It's like in terms of relationship, it's like, you want a monogamous relationship with a boyfriend who's just yours,
Mm-hmm.
and you're just his. And you think for you, polyamory, but okay, but then somebody who's in a polyamorous relationship will come to you and say, oh, so you think I'm a piece of shit, and you think, and it's like, no, like, I don't, but at the same time, I'm still able to think it's kind of stupid what you're doing. Like, why can't it be both? That's what I mean. It's like people want you to fucking choose a side forever, forever. You got to be no, like, if you're gonna be in a monogamous relationship, you have to say that all polyamorous relationships are stupid and crazy. Well, it's like, I can still say that, and if somebody is in one and it really works, I'm gonna pat you on the back and be like, that's fucking awesome, and genuinely mean it.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think it really works, but again, I still am cool with it. Like, it's people have a hard time with this idea of like, okay, are you like, oh, so you're just in the middle about everything, you just have you're a limp dick, they'll say to you then, right? So you're just a limp dick, you just go left and right. And
Choose the side of the fence.
It's like, no, I'm choosing the side of the fence of monogamous relationships. I don't think polyamorous relationships are realistic, say, or whatever, however you want to put it. But my point is, but at the same time, if there's one comes about that people are in and it works, fucking great. Like, I genuinely mean that. I'm not just saying it to be nice.
I could summarize how I actually feel about them.
Let's hear it.
The people that can do polyamory in a healthy way don't want it.
Mm-hmm.
And the ones that can't do it in a healthy way are the ones that want it. Like, if you have the degree of consciousness to engage in polyamory consciously, you don't want it.
Is it even the word polyamory? You're right. You're loving multiple people. I mean, I think it kind of, in its fucking definition, negates the idea, because it's like, we all know when you meet that guy or girl and you're just like obsessed, right? You get to the point of taking out their phone in the middle of the night and going through their texts because you're so fucking obsessed with them. Been there, done that, huh? Got you. That you do that, right? Because you're fucking in love, like genuinely obsessed with them, right? And you don't want anybody else to have them, and you want to be with them. So it's like, how can you be with two people? I just don't think you can be obsessed that way with two people or more people at the same time. I think what ends up happening is you have that one go-to girl or wife. I mean, look, a lot of married couples do that shit, right? Like they'll do what, like swinging parties and shit like that. So and then you go back to your you go see your side chick and you go back to your whatever, your home base. That's like that's like the one. I just don't think it's even a real thing to be obsessed with two people at the same time, because I think, again, it's just not possible. This is the case where I guess I am going to hold my ground, because I just don't think you can. Because if you're upset, or maybe you're a psycho motherfucker and you just don't love anybody. You know what I mean?
No, but what you're saying is like about holding your ground is it doesn't actually negate what we're saying about the fact that I do have a truth. I have a belief about the situation, but it doesn't mean the other's wrong.
Yeah.
Like, it means that you might need to explore that. And if it's part of your truth, like, at the moment, we're pretty damn sure Aubrey thinks it's the enlightened version. And that's so okay, because it's part of, like, you can't use force to learn anything. You have to experience it. But that kind of goes back to this idea that those that can actually engage in it consciously understand that it is not a conscious choice. And those that think it fails because it's built to fail, but not because it's wrong, but because it's a learning experience, just like anything else. It's kind of like, yeah, you might crave McDonald's at 2 a.m. Doesn't mean you should go have it. Like, there's part of the dance of the human experience of novelty and newness and versus stability, and there's all, like, it's just getting to know yourself, really.
Yeah, it's hard to understand for people. I think for a lot of people. Also, a lot of people like to. I say this all the time, but a lot of people love saying well, okay, agree to disagree. But it's like, no, you're not really agreeing with me. You're just fucking saying that to be nice. I do genuinely believe that that's what I'm saying. Like, if I disagree with you, I disagree with you. But I do genuinely believe that you may have your own truth, and it's just, yes, your truth. That's cool too. It doesn't have to be one way or the other. But I can still disagree with you.
Totally. And I can disagree with older versions of myself.
Yeah, big time, right? That's the best, like you said, that's the best mirror right there. Just like trying to, or paying attention to what you did back then and being like, oh my God, what the fuck was I thinking, right? Or like, why did I do that?
And everyone's doing their best. Like, there's a lot of, oh, I shouldn't have done that. It's like, you literally cannot not do what you do. Like, you have the resources and beliefs you have, and that's why growth is so incredible. And through mistakes, it's like, imagine a baby learning to walk and be like, dude, I fell so fucking much when I was learning to walk. I shouldn't have fallen. It's like, you can't not fall.
So you and I initially wanted to talk about, I guess, gender roles and relationships and stuff like that. So we kind of covered some ground there.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you think is happening currently in, let's say, the Western world, in America and Canada, and as far as relationship? Do you think it's headed in a good direction, or maybe it's just, it is what it is? Maybe there is no direction that they're driving us to.
I mean, it's a huge question in terms of gender roles. Like, this is something I've become quite, like, passionate about as a topic, because I grew up super in my masculine, like independence, modern feminism, where it's like, you don't need a man, don't rely on a man for anything, make your own money, all this stuff. And that led to, like, an array of issues, including health issues, fertility stuff, like just a bunch of health dissociation from my body and distrust in, like, myself as a woman. And, like, we're seeing it a lot. I don't know how un-PC you want to get, but in terms of, like, just gender in general, we're like, there is no gender, and gender is just a fabrication. But the reality, like, the fabric of us as, like, natural beings and a part of nature is there is gender, and women and men are not the same. And so many of us women, I think in particular, are just raised so in our masculine that we just don't even know left from right anymore. And a lot of the things that we pursue, big careers, and it's not to say that women, it's not black and white, but the big career thing, and the, how many women are in their 40s, 50s, still single, CEO of a company, but fundamentally unhappy. And I guess this kind of goes back to inner peace, is like part of my inner peace as a woman is being connected to my feminine essence. And that is the nurturer, it's the carer, it's in relationship, and this exists even in same-sex relationships. There's a masculine and a feminine essence. That's what creates sexual polarity. You can't have chemistry without someone being in their masculine and someone being in their feminine. And yeah, like the pill dissociates women from their bodies, and coming home to the feminine, even in relationship, like where, a man is having a traditional male role in relationship and a woman has a traditional woman role, that is considered like sexist and, in our modern, Western world. But actually, I like feel so deeply, and I speak about this a lot, and women resonate deeply, and so do men, that we both crave traditional gender roles. And so, I don't know, the media in many ways, the medical system, everyone's trying to like tell us that gender doesn't exist. But I fundamentally believe that part of coming home to ourselves is reclaiming our natural essence. You as a masculine essence, as a man, and me as a woman. Like there's just, the equality movement has tried to brainwash us to think that we're the same. And there's a difference between being equals and actually being the same.
So I like what you shared because you shared it from, growing up in Canada. Where'd you grow up, by the way, in Canada?
Toronto.
Oh, okay, okay, cool, cool. So yeah, as a very Western American kind of type Canadian girl, and I'll tell you, like the other side of that, the Russian side is like, which is the most un-PC country ever, especially right now, right? It's like there, it's I have to get girls flowers. I can't just go. You know how dudes in America go to like Ralph's and they just pick out the flowers and they bring it to you with the plastic wrapped and everything.
Yeah.
You can't do that shit in Russia. They're just gonna look at you like you're an asshole and you're trash. You're supposed to take the plastic off and get it wrapped in actual paper. You're not even allowed. You're not supposed to. You can't even do that. See, it's the thing that nobody knows, right? And people are like, "What you do?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's that much, And you're supposed to pay for everything. And your girl, you're supposed to open the door. And I mean, some people for sure do that in America still, but it's a very, like I said, like we just talked about, there's no black and white.
Yeah.
But there's like, say, generalizations, right? So if generally speaking in America, women are very, in their masculine, like you said, very independent. In Russia, generally speaking, they're it's the opposite, right? They have, like I said, your guy's supposed to do stuff that guys do, and your girl's supposed to do stuff that girls do. And so coming here, it was very noticeable, like, whoa, they do stuff differently here. So, it's like I said, it's a very un-PC, it's a very gender roles. There's no such thing, you can't even talk about, gay stuff in Russia. You're not allowed to promote it. There's no advertising. It's a law, you're not allowed to do any of those such things.
And so I think both the current Western paradigm of like kind of genderless at best, and where in Russia it's, you still have these traditional gender roles. I think both versions are relatively unconscious possibilities of how it can look.
Yeah.
Because in Russia, for the most part, people that aren't engaging in conscious relationship, the masculine feminine dynamic comes from a place of mutual manipulation. So man from, with his money, he has power, and woman with her body, and, she'll withhold sex to get what she wants. Exactly. And the man will withhold money, or, woman will be, well, you can cook your own dinner. And so both done from a place of manipulation, lowest vibration, super unconscious. And then you step into the maybe the current state of America, and this is David Deda's work. He talks about the 3 stages of consciousness in polarity. The second stage is when gender doesn't exist, or, in a household, everything is done 50-50. Goodbye sex. That's marriage. It's common because you become friends. Like that is not like there's no where there's no polarity, there's no so in the Russia, I bet they're having, pretty epic sex lives.
Yep. And in
Manipulation,
America, it was the complete opposite.
yeah.
Yes. Look at you.
So manipulation or not, when there's polarity, there's sexual chemistry. And then when it's 50-50, you kill passion because you're basically friends. Like what? You need the polarity, but done unconsciously, I would argue is extremely unfulfilling because everything's a game. Like this game you talk about, right? Of like a never-ending game that exists with the unconscious nature of polarity. And then David Data's work of this third stage of consciousness is when two people come together and say, I'm a woman in her feminine, and you are a man in your masculine. And can I give to you the gifts of the feminine? I want to make our house a home. I want to cook for you and clean for you, not because I have to or because I want to manipulate you, but because I love you and it's in my nature. Like, and then the man, I want to provide for you and I want to make you feel safe, not because I'm going to then take it away. If you're a bad girl, if you do something bad or if you do this, it's like this conscious evolved version of giving the gift, not manipulating and never withholding it out of manipulation. Even if you fuck up, even if you do something that hurts me, I'm never going to use my gift to manipulate you. And from that place, which is hella rare, like that's kind of
Yeah. Well, because what we're doing here is we're bringing those two sides more towards the middle, right? Which is what we're talking about. So I think that's exactly it, right? Because that's yeah. Because again, like yeah, I want to be the masculine man and doing all the cool masculine things, but I don't mind if you still work and have a job and make some money. Like
totally.
I
And
don't
look,
want I don't want to be uber traditional either.
me
That's the
neither.
it's like we were talking about. I was telling you about the dudes that are super. It's really rebellious to be in a traditional, old school relationship, and it's like, man, I don't know. My grandparents lived like that. Like they lived out in the farms, and they had chickens, and I got
Mhm.
a taste of that. I know what that life is like. Like I kind of enjoy biking to Whole Foods, like you were saying. But
Totally.
also, I don't want to live in New York City. It's just like I just want somewhere in the middle. Just somewhere in the middle. I want to be able to explore that natural kind of thing. But at the same time, I wanna live life too, because life's short, and I want to enjoy the things that people create. And I think those things are cool too. There's so many things that are so fucking unnatural, but so fun.
Oh, I agree. I totally agree. But that kind of boils down back to like the communication of your wants and needs and desires. And yeah, creating this new version, evolved version of relationship that is possible. And like I work, I part of like my partnership now with my boyfriend, we both value traditional gender roles. I do all the cooking and cleaning. And
Oh,
and it doesn't like it fulfills me in a way that I think is probably very triggering to many women who are like, well,
but it's
no,
authentic to how you feel right now. You
it is
like it. Yeah,
it is
so fucking great.
100%. And yeah, I think curiosity again of this like, well, what do you want for your like? Do you want passion? Do you want chemistry? Do you want polarity? I saw it in my parents reverse gender roles, and I like my dad doing a lot of the cooking and cleaning and my mom really being the breadwinner, and that shit breeds resentment. And it's not about not working. Like I love work. I love the work that I do. We both contribute financially, but it is about keeping like the essence of the feminine alive in the dynamic,
Yeah,
and not striving for we are the same, so we're equal, so we're the same.
it's very true what you said. It's very true. It's funny. So why is it still so pushed upon people? Do you think there's this massive machine that's just actually trying to I don't know. I'm getting farther and farther away from those ideas of like they
The
and
evil state.
them, yeah, and those. They're even though there's 100% some truth to it. 100%. I just don't want to live my life in that kind of fearful mentality of like they are against this. So do you think there's a sort of big machine that's trying to push this message, or maybe is it just the feminine consciousness of the fucking universe exploring itself and maybe thinking that, oh, maybe we can be a little more independent, and maybe we should try being completely independent, and then maybe now it does seem like a lot of people are starting to question those ideas, right? At least they're
Mhm.
like you yourself, right? And you're not 50 years old, so
Mhm.
it's like,
Yeah, I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
I
I don't
think it's
know.
a bit of chicken and the egg. Like
Yeah.
I also have really distanced myself from the they, like the
Mhm.
they thems. No, from like the idea that there's an evil entity that is controlling and manipulating, trying to dissociate us, because we participate. Like, the whole supply and demand concept. Like, you can only, like, the masses also generate the reality through their beliefs and through their choices. And yeah, what drives us to do what we do, I don't know. But I think, again, the curiosity of, like, is what I'm doing working for me?
Yeah,
Like,
because look,
is
there's two sides of this too, by the way. What's happening in America right now with a lot of people being like, whoa, 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 right, right, like a lot of the redder states, usually, right, being like, hold on a second, we don't actually fucking like this.
Mhm.
And then there's the other side of that, like in Russia, where they're trying, these old fucks that are in charge of the government, they're trying so hard to not let any of their traditional ideas even be manipulated slightly or change, so that
Mhm.
they're just, no, that's it, we're staying like this forever, this is what we've always done, our traditions are this way, women do this, men do this, so that they're doing that to the point of like, oh, now they're starting a war and they're doing this shit, and they're just like, and a lot of people are leaving, right? Because a lot of people are like, hold on, well, I mean, I know, I have a lot of friends that are couples, that are like, well, they're more towards the Russian side. They're very,
Yeah.
uh, what were we saying? They're very traditional,
Yeah.
but they don't like that. The girl, the wife wants to work. She doesn't
Mhm.
want to be just at home and just cleaning. So
Mhm.
that they're just like, fuck that, we're leaving Russia. So there's that other side of that, of like being too stuck in this. Okay, traditionalism. This is the way we've always done it. This is the way we should continue doing
Mhm.
forever. It's like
Yeah,
either way, if you have a tight grip on either in either situations,
totally.
it's not good.
No, the tight grip needs to be loosened for sure.
Yeah, I'm all for people doing whatever the fuck they want. Like I genuinely mean that.
Mm. So am I, under the context of, like, is it working for you?
Yes. Well,
Think-
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, a lot of people will operate from a place and it's not working, and the assumption is like, I'm not trying hard enough
Yeah.
with the method I'm using.
Yeah, it's like with the diet, right? It's like you're just detoxing. You just wait a little bit.
Exactly. Like, I'm not keto enough. I'm having too many carbs. It's like, well, be curious. Like, maybe how you've done it, and maybe how you've done it for generations and lifetimes, is actually not working.
Yeah. Did you, so on the topic of diet, did you have a good experience with food in Oaxaca and all that? And then now that you're
Super good.
in America again, do you feel like your quality of food has gone down or about the same, or how's that change been?
I think the meat is, I mean, in Austin, the meat here is off the chain. There's
It's
so
off
much,
the chain.
it's
God
crazy.
damn it. I tell people all the time because, I live in this fucking LA crazy city, and there's always a place that pops up that there's like a 45-minute wait, and then people are always like, hey, come on. And I'll go, and I fucking hate lines, and I'll stand in line for 45 minutes, and then I'll eat it, and I'll be like, that was good. Like, that's it. Like, so I don't do that because I'm that guy that everybody's laughing at because I'm just like, fuck this stupid line. I can't do it. But in Austin, you go to Austin and you wait in line for like 3 hours. They have some places there, right? Like Franklin's and all that. And again, the first time I went, I was thinking, oh my God, it's going to be another Los Angeles experience. And then I finally got that fucking barbecue. I got that brisket. And I understood. That's all.
Yeah, the meat's amazing.
I understood.
Although I'm not carnivore, I eat a lot of meat.
Mm.
And so in that sense, it's way better than Mexico. There, the meat was pretty good, but here it's like on a different planet. Even in terms of like regenerative agriculture, there's epic, high quality, mindful. There's like meat hubs. There's literally like a co-working space
Yeah. And good
where, like,
eggs, good chicken stuff. Yeah.
oh, totally. The meat's amazing. Produce is less great, but like the climate's not so conducive. Oaxaca's like
I miss those
the
exotic
perfect,
fruits.
yeah, coconuts. Yeah,
That's the one thing. Yeah, I love that. I love exotic fruits. I just fucking love
same.
them.
And they have them at Whole Foods, but they all come from Mexico.
Yeah, exactly. And they're like super unripe, and it's just
Totally.
and they're super expensive, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's like the Hawaiian papayas we have here that they don't sell in Hawaii because they make more money shipping them here, right? So they
That
just
happened. I used to live in the Caribbean on a small island in the British Virgin Islands, and the most amazing tropical fruit all exported.
yep, yep. The papaya, I mean the pineapple. Everybody talks about Hawaiian pineapple. It's like you go to the store there and you look at the pineapple and it says Ecuador on it. So they get the shittier or whatever less, because that Hawaiian soil. Have you been to Hawaii?
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's the best, right? Come on, I mean, it's just like California. It's been ruined by politics. It's like the worst place ever for those sort of things.
Hawaii's pretty great.
But Hawaii is pretty fucking great, isn't it? It's literally heaven on earth. It's literally heaven on earth. So I don't know if I'm rich enough.
Colonize them, yeah.
Yeah, if I'm rich enough, for sure I'll retire there because it's fucking heaven on earth. Don't tell anybody, even though we just talked about it on the podcast. But yeah, yeah. So now that you're in Austin, what are you up to? What you've been doing? What's the plan? What kind of things are you putting together? Workshops? Are you doing women's circles?
I'm gonna get that going again soon. Yeah, I'm gonna start writing for a couple of the regenerative farming companies around here, which is super rad. I plugged into that community pretty quickly, and yeah, eventually dance, women's retreats, women's circles, but flowing with it. I'm not forcing the timeline. It's a lot to move.
Yeah, but you're enjoying Austin so far, eh?
Loving it. Mm-hmm.
Even without the boyfriend, I'm saying you're enjoying the place. You like it.
I'm loving Austin. Austin's cool. It's kind of crazy. Like everyone's, for better or worse, everyone's a fucking coach. Everyone has cupping marks. There's like literally just gyms on every corner, and it's great. I love it. Yeah, the conversations are hilarious. Like, the overheard in LA's.
There's got to be an overheard in Austin by now.
There has to be an overheard.
We got to look that up. I'm curious now too.
That I hear is all day. I should start the Twitter account now that Elon bought Twitter. It's hilarious.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, it's great.
It's a good city. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I mean, it's like the coolest people from LA moved there. You know what I mean? Something like that.
Hearing this, I keep hearing that like everyone's ditched the.
I mean, like not the douchey LA people moved there. It's like the coolest people that are still all about do your thing.
You're moving to Austin is what you're announcing.
I know. I liked it so much, honestly. I have already a bunch of. I stayed with a friend that did that actually. Moved from LA to there, so I have a bunch of friends.
Have you?
I know.
The Canadian will welcome you.
The ocean. The only thing, it's just I'm such a bitch now. I'm so spoiled for the ocean that like I really want an ocean.
Did you get to Barton while you were here? The springs?
No, but I heard a lot about those. Right, those are fun. Those replace
the ocean. They're fun. Well, they don't, but they make the city totally livable. Nothing replaces the ocean. But you're going to have your house in Hawaii and you're
and in another place in Austin.
Fly between the two.
No, I'm not kidding. I really liked it. Like, 'cause I've been there before, and I haven't been there for a few years. And I went this time and I was thinking, okay, I'm going to really try to like not like it, almost. And then I really liked it again. I was like, oh, fuck. I liked it.
It's rad. I really like it here.
I don't know. But it's just... my family has a place in Florida now, so I don't know. Florida is pretty fucking nice too. But Austin is definitely more of a city. Like there's more fun.
It's young. It's so vibrant. There's so many young, cool people.
Yeah.
So many saunas.
My God.
All the cold plunges.
It sounds so good because you'd think LA would have that, but they're fucking crazy expensive. These saunas. There's only a few of them, really. Mm-hmm. There used to be a great Russian sauna that I would go to here. It was awesome. And then Colin Farrell started going there. And then Justin Bieber started going there. So I'd be like saunaing next to Justin Bieber. And then guess what? It became a members only sauna. And it's like, I don't know, 10 grand a year to join. And I'm like, I am not spending this much money to sit in as much as I love it. I don't make that much money. So they, kind of closed it off to normal people like me that used to go there. So I'm just kind of like sauna-less in LA now.
Although Erewhon is fucking
You've been to LA then?
I have, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know. Okay, so you know about Erewhon, eh?
Yeah, I know about Erewhon and their $11 coconut milk.
It's way more than that now. Are you kidding me? I got a
So
smooth.
good.
I got a. Yeah, I got a smoothie the other day just because I had nothing else. I forgot there was nothing else around, so I was just like, fuck it. It was like $16 for a smoothie.
But like worth every penny.
Yes, yes. That's the thing, right? That's the
Are
fucked
they
up thing.
kidding
It's
me?
like
This is
so good.
amazing.
You're
I
like,
know.
you're getting robbed, but you're like, take it. You're like, ah.
Take it. I know. I love Erewhon. I hope one doesn't come here because I'll be broke.
Oh, they're thinking about spreading. I've heard already that they're gonna do
They
one
have to
somewhere.
have one here. I know.
They must. Well, I started when it was open when I moved to LA, and it was just a vegan-ish vegetarian place on Beverly and sort of near Fairfax. It basically kind of central of the city in the city. And yeah, I'd go there and buy like kelp noodles and shit like that when I was like sort of vegetarian. Yeah. And it was just nothing there. And everybody would be like, what the fuck is this stupid name, Irwan? Like nowhere backwards. And then out of nowhere in the last couple years, I guess.
No pun intended.
Oh, I didn't even catch that. Yes, out of nowhere, last couple years, somebody bought it, and then yeah, now there's
Rebrand.
there's like 5 or 6 locations now all over the city, and they're huge. You go in there, and it's like
Just heaven. I can't even shit talk them. I love Erewhon. I honestly take the money.
You're so basic.
I don't even care. Take the money.
See, I like how you own it. Me too. People make fun of me, and I just go, yeah, I'm sorry.
I love.
Have you tried their strawberries? Like they're so fucking good. Like you won't find them anywhere else.
I hear they have a membership now and merch. Like I would wear an Erewhon t-shirt. Whatever.
$200 a year, so not bad. Not bad. You could. I think you have to spend quite a bit amount of money though on it a year to get to make that $200 back because it's like $200 and then you
like
just
one grocery shop.
Well, trust me, more than that because I was keeping track at once and I was like, holy fuck, I gotta spend like a lot, which I did end up doing. But
I know, so it's great.
It was worth it, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. Okay, so nothing as of yet. You don't have any workshops, nothing coming up as of yet. You'll announce it. Usually do that like on your Instagram, stuff like that, which I'll link.
Oh yeah, I'm not promoting anything. We're just talking.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying. Come on, people are gonna want to know who you are.
Not yet. No, not yet. But eventually, yeah. There's a lot of things I want to do here, and it's been pretty cool because a lot of the audience for Becoming Fully Human does not live in Mexico, and so that I moved here, there's quite a few people that are ready for in-person events. So yeah.
Awesome. So you will let me know, and I will, also share some of that stuff. People can hang out with you and do their thing. Yeah, and then maybe we can do that again. Then we'll chat about it. Yeah, another podcast one day.
When you move to Austin.
All right, done deal.
At one of the many podcasting studios all over Austin.
Oh, one of the many. I like that.
Things you own.
All right, well, thank you for your time. Thanks for coming on.